Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you all to Discovering Your Destiny podcast, where we embark on a transformative journey to discover your destinies and unlock the secrets to living a purpose filled life as a misfit or the black sheep of the family. We help you understand that your unique life experience can lead to you living a life full of fulfillment while making an impact and an income while doing so. I'm your host, Athena Renee, and I'm so grateful and thrilled to be with you on this journey. I have been in the entrepreneur space for over 15 years. I started off as a complete beginner. I've always worked prior to that, I worked for multiple Fortune 500 companies in the areas of leadership and supply chain, and I decided that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I saw that as a way of freedom and the lifestyle that I wanted to live, but I didn't know of that complete journey. I had no reference to it. Well, I embarked on that journey, and 15 years later, I can honestly say I'm glad I did so. I learned so much in that time. But what I do want to share with you is that everything that we do, um, in business as well as in our career, especially in leadership, it always comes back to servicing other people. It always comes back to service. And what I realize is I really have a passion about helping other people take their life to the next level for fulfillment and definitely to make a better income and impact in their life. And that's why I'm here today with you, because I was able to do so. I didn't have any form of reference to be opening up a business, being a freelancer, or even working with celebrities. Um, and I was able to build my business up brick by brick. I'm going to be sharing with you insight on that if you want to build your career on a level of leadership all the way up to the C suite. Okay, so this is a safe place for misfits and black sheep to dream big. Okay, so we're going to be talking about leadership strategies, how to level up your career. We're going to talk about mock interviewing, but we're also going to talk about entrepreneurship and different strategies that you can use as a misfit to help you go to the next level. Why am I so passionate about the misfit? Well, because we're living in a time now where there's a lot of separation. We have men against women, and you have all the women groups, you have all the men groups, then you have all the black groups, you have all the white groups, you have all the Latino groups, right? Then you have the American groups, then you have you got BRICS, and you got the United Nations. But you know what surpasses all of those different separations and groups? The misfit. The misfit. Why? Because you can be a misfit. You can be in a room or at an event where people look just like you and you're still a misfit. You can be at a company or a job where everybody has the same title, but you still a misfit. I'll never forget when I was a part of a women's group that empower women. But guess what? I was a misfit. And guess what? Guess who were one of the people that was suppressing me, so to speak? The owner, the founder, right? And I don't want to sound like a victim mentality, but the tactics that she was using, it was meant to suppress me, right? I removed myself. So I'm not going to say I was a victim, but that's what was going on. But I'm saying that to say it was all women. I was supposed to be getting empowered, not hated on, not picked apart. But guess what? When you're a misfit, race doesn't matter. Gender doesn't matter. You a misfit. You resonated with it most of the time. You kind of caught on to it when you were younger. Okay. But this is a safe space for you. This content that I'm bringing, our company, our services, everything, we provide coaching, mentoring, support tools to help the misfit go to the next level. Why? Because the world needs you. The world needs to know your story and how you can help other people make an income and an impact. Not only that, just make positive changes in their life in general. because your unique story possesses the things that's needed in the world today. You know why? Because you wouldn't have went through it if you didn't need it. And today I'm here to drop this powerful video on you, this powerful episode on you. So please bear with me on this one because this is really one of the most powerful ones that I've dropped. And it took me a little bit before I even done so. You know, God gives me messages all the time. Well, not all the time, but he gives me messages and it's content that's from my life. I always like to tell my students, when God gives you downloads, make sure you write them down. When you're at work or doing whatever you're doing, and if you have a creative idea, write it down right away. And some of you might say, I don't want all these pieces of paper. What you do is have one main source of ideas and write those things down. Why? Because your creativity is going to carve the way for you. And each one of those things, what if each one of those things brought an extra $1,000 a month? If you got 10 ideas up there, you now have $10,000, right? Or it could be one of those things that bring in 10,000, right? But write your ideas down, okay? So today, though, this was one of the things that I had wrote down when I'm really building this relationship with the creator, with God. We talk a lot about business here, but I want you to understand, as a misfit, you still here because there was a divine power over your life. See, a lot of times as a misfit, you could be at the bottom of the basement, but people way on the top will hate you. Have you ever had friends that had a perfect life, quote unquote, where they had maybe both of their parents? Maybe they had one, but they had a really awesome parent. They grew up in a nice house. You know, they had all the family support, but they were still hateful. They were still selfish. As a misfit, there's a good chance you've experienced a lot of things like that. And what you must understand is you are still here by the grace of God. Let me just be frank about it. Because I know we live in a time now where everybody wants to believe in whatever. That's cool. But I'm telling you my perspective today as a Christian, because I'm going to be loud and proud about mine. Because Christianity, and it wasn't called that originally, it's a lifestyle. It's not about some religious sect and all of that, right? It's about providing a positive impact on the world. Yes, I can get paid for it. Big payment. Trust me and believe me. Why? Because we paid a price with our life. A life, a life that we went through, and only us. And we made it. And it wasn't just us that made it by our own intelligence. Because how many of you have hung around people that you look back on and they didn't even like you? They probably hated your guts. People were jealous of you. And you're still here, right? You had to know that there was a supreme being, a divine power that's been protecting you. I mean, I could tell you so many stories about myself, guys. I used to catch the bus to Chicago. I told you I'm from a small city outside of Chicago. It's just like 45 minutes driving. So that's just like if I'm in Atlanta and I'm going to Stone Mountain. But I used to catch the bus. And back in that day, the bus ride was nothing but $15. And if you just act regular, you can get on the bus. They wasn't checking for ID. If you got a ticket, you good. As long as you got your ticket. And I was always fascinated I always liked the city lights, first of all. But do you remember people hearing a lot of people online, how people have these videos called ghetto fights and ghetto documentaries? Well, I used to love to go to different hoods and talk to people and not just film, right? But talk to people and actually understand it. But I'm saying that to say, I know God has been with me, right? I'm talking about been with me. So today, you must understand that if you're here, you have been protected and blessed by a higher power because you have a higher mission. And it's important for you to get it out there. So today, we're going to be talking about wisdom revealed. Wisdom revealed, recognizing God's answers. Okay? Recognizing how God answers. You know, This particular episode, like I said, guys, it's going to be one of the deepest one that I've done because I'm not an expert on being a Christian at all. So please understand this is not coming from a religious expertise way of life. This is coming from a life that have walked this walk, that can talk the talk and bring to you. Okay, and bring you this information. All right. So I just want you to understand that the information that I'm bringing to you is not about me telling you that there's only one way to do this and this is the right way. And I'm not trying to push off some religious dogma down your throat. Okay. But I want you to understand that if you're connected to this show and if you resonate with being a misfit, you must understand that you have been protected and there's a mission for you. There's something larger than life out there for you to do. And it's time for you to take your place and get all of the good things that you're meant to get. And the way that you unlock that through purpose. Okay. You unlock it through purpose. And I pray that you know your purpose. I pray that you ask God about your purpose. Okay. But today we're going to talk about how to recognize God's answers when you do ask Him things, right? Because I grew up in a very religious household, the holiness movement, the Pentecostal church. And it's funny because in church, some people say, don't question God. But then they turn around and say, you need to have a prayer life, right? He's our Father, right? And it's like, well, which one is it? Because you'll be confused. You hear a lot of people saying that you ain't supposed to question God. But here's my thing. Men lie, women lie. God never lies. That's somebody I need to ask questions. You need to have, this is why Christianity is not about religion. It's about relationship. It's about relationship. Why? Because it's about your personal, intimate walk with God, with the Creator, so that you can complete your mission on earth and live that life of fulfillment while making an impact and an income while your time is here. Okay? Because you can go anywhere and get enlightenment. So while I'm even talking to you today, if you get this message, when it's time for you to catch this message and anything else, take it to God. Take it to the Father so He can give you understanding on what I'm saying. Why? Because humans can tell you anything, but it's the enlightenment of God that will be a strong foundation and can't nobody rock that boat. Okay? And you only get this through relationship. This is why this particular episode is called Wisdom Revealed. Wisdom Revealed. Now, I was looking at, as I was preparing for this message and studying for this message today, the scripture came to my mind. It says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God, that giveth to all men liberally and unbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, not wavering. Okay, now that was that King James version. Okay, so I'm just looking at it just from the raw standpoint, right? But the main piece that I came to mind was, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God, right? It said, and that he'll giveth to all men liberally and unbraideth not. Now, unbraideth is like, yeah, dog, upbraideth. I'm like, woo, them words from that King James day. It's like, woo-wee. That was Shakespeare helping out with that. No, I'm just kidding. But they do say that that William Shakespeare was on that council of men that translated the Bible. But that unbraideth not, I think that means that he didn't have favor. Okay. But the main thing I want you to understand is, when you are looking for wisdom, right? There's nothing wrong with asking people. But start by the Creator. the person that made you, the person that understands you, the person that created you for a reason, the person that already know your journey, what you've been through and what you survived. This is why it's important for you to have that relationship with a higher power. Now listen, I understand you have the freedom to believe how you want to believe, right? But when you look at how beautiful you are in your life and the things you went through, your war wounds and your scars, you know it has to be a creator, right? And the first thing I want you to understand is ask God, ask Him for wisdom on different things in your life. Let Him be the first source, right? And then say, God, point me to the direction. Point me to the people I need to ask about this, right? So let me give you an example. It was a friend at the time. We no longer associate, but they were really good at credit, fixing credit and finances, right? But it was two things about them that I knew. Number one, well, I'm going to just say this first of all. Okay. It was two things about them that I knew. They like to throw up your past in your face. And the other thing was, um, it was they were very competitive. Not okay, and that wasn't the point that I want. They are very competitive, but that wasn't the point. The other thing was I knew they were very good at credit and had excellent credit, but they always had a low cash flow and they had to borrow money. And for me, they didn't pay back all the time, right? So I knew they was good at mastering credit because that's a system, that's a game, but they always had a mediocre cash flow, right? So they got things all the way. They got their stuff together now. I'm not throwing shade. I'm just telling you the profile. Okay, so when I started to come into a certain amount of money, I'm like, I wanted to, and my credit was still jacked, right? I wanted someone to help me. I didn't mind giving them the money, right? And I wanted to come to her, but I had to ask God. I'm like, God, should I? Because prior to, I was blindly really loyal to people that was never loyal to me as a misfit. And I had to learn, like, you have to be very discerning about who you bring in your personal life and your quarters. And God revealed to me, like, oh, don't tell them nothing. And it wasn't even maybe a month or two, and I may be off at this time, but they threw something up in my past. And I was just like, I'm so happy I didn't let them in my finances. I'm so grateful. Oh, I'm so grateful. I was literally about to take them. We were talking about getting microblading done, which is so beautiful. And I was going to take them as a gift to go. And they pulled that little punk move. I was so grateful to God that I asked Him about her because I was slow to move. I had been knowing her for a while, but I was slow to, you know, some people give you that intuition again, but you've known them for so long. Sometimes we're loyal to liars. We're loyal to bullcrap, right? And so God revealed that to me when I asked Him about it. So today I want to talk to you about how He reveals the answer. So first of all, I'm telling you the first step is start with God on asking who and what you should be getting wisdom from. And when you get the wisdom, God, show me the fruits, the meat of the message that I should be taking from it, right? Take away the person from the message. God, give me my message, my personal message. Now, the second piece to this is after you ask God, I want you to understand this. And this may need to be number one, but it's number two. I want you to understand this. With God being the marvelous God that He is, the generous God that He is so generous because He created us. And as us being a misfit, we're still here unscathed. A lot of us living really good lives, right? And if you're not living a good life, 9 out of 10 is because of our own decisions. Let's be clear, especially as adults. But God is still merciful and generous to allow us to continue to have another chance to do better. So one thing I want you to settle in your mind is, if God is the creator of my life, just because I ask him something does not mean he has to answer me. And you have to be at a place of peace. You have to be at a place of peace, inner peace, as well as outer peace to accept that. Because a lot of times people feel like somebody owe them something or someone have to answer them. And I want you to understand that at the end of the day, God does not have to answer you. But what you must know is, he wouldn't have did it to you. It wouldn't have been a part of your journey and you survived if it was not something that you can use later on in your life. Okay? I want you to understand that piece. Even if he don't answer you about a certain thing, a lot of our life experiences are things that the things that we can share later on. It gives us our potency. It gives us our uniqueness. And a lot of times within the church, they say that gives us our anointing. Okay, so God don't have to answer you. I want you to know that. But one thing about God, though, he is very generous. And a lot of times he does answer us. And today we're going to be talking about wisdom revealed. How does he answer? Recognizing God's answer. Okay. Recognizing God's answer. Now, like I said, guys, I'm not an expert at this, but I've taken my life into consideration and I've thought about all the times that I have talked to God about different things. But check this out. Let me tell you about it, how God is so good to me. It wasn't just about me talking about asking God for things, even though I was asking him for things. Sometimes, guys, I was just reading maybe The Secret and learning more knowledge about manifestation. Okay? About manifestation. Because a lot of times, recognizing God's answers and stuff like that, it could look like goal achievement, right? It could look like success. Some of you guys might ask God about success and how to get to the next level and motivation and how to do all of these different things, right? And sometimes it'll look like, well, how do I manifest this? What is manifestation? Manifestation is the ability to take an idea from your mind, from your creativity, from thin air, and pull it out to the physical realm. Okay? Pulling it out to the physical realm. So how do you some of you guys, you ask the universe, can you please, send me a car or send me a man or whatever it is, right? God is so merciful that he has universal laws in place. What is the universal laws? What you sow, you shall reap. What you sow, you shall reap. Okay? So this is all about you getting wisdom, getting the things that you need, and understand how God reveals answers. Okay? So are you ready for the first way that God reveals answers? And it may be more than these. It's two to two-ish ways. I'm gonna say two. Yeah, it's three. I'm sorry. It's three ways because these are two different things when I was just looking at my list. It's three ways that God reveals answers, right? And it might be more for someone else, but these are the top three ways. As I've looked back on my life, I've looked at the patterns, the times that I always ask God for something because God is my main source. I ask God for everything. God, can I get a Bentley truck? And somebody else might say, that's stupid because you just need to get things together. But for me, since God has protected me and created me, God knows the things that I need and I don't need. Okay? So, the first way that God reveals his answers is in relationships. Relationships. right? He reveals answers in relationships. What do I mean? Okay, so if you take that scripture, if any of you lack wisdom, ask God. I'll never forget this one time I asked God, I said, God, I wish I could be like this young lady. It was a woman at the time. She was like a mentor to me. I just thought she was the effing bomb. Okay. She had a nice car. She just had it together, her professional job. She owned multiple properties. Then she had an apartment in the city in the skyrise. And she was just put together. I came in her house. Everything was in order. It was so neat and nice and organized, right? I was more of a free spirit. And I had a career and I was together, but not like her. Okay. She had it going on. And so I said, God, I want to have it together like her. I said, man, her house is so in order. And I think I used the word perfect. I'll be honest with you. I think I'll be perfect. I think I used the word perfect. I said, she just seems so perfect, God, you know. And so about a year later, she hit me up. We actually, because prior to that, we had took many road trips together. We had started to hang out a little bit. And then a year later, she contacted me about being her roommate. She said she was moving to, well, she actually had a townhome, and I wasn't going to be a roommate, so I take that back. She had a townhome, and she was like, I'm renting out this apartment. Do you want to move in? And I checked it out. I was like, yes, definitely, right? She said, okay, cool. So when it was time for me to move in, I told her I'll be able to move in about 2 weeks. When it was time for me to move in, that's when she popped it on me and said, hey, plans has changed. What you think about being my roommate? And I was kind of like, I was kind of hesitant about it at that time because I had already had multiple roommates. Prior to me becoming an entrepreneur, every time I moved, I was that friend that had people staying with me all the time. Now, when I became an entrepreneur in the beginning, I'll be honest with you guys, I was sleeping on people's couches, floor, mat, basement, anything, right? But prior to that, when I was just in my regular career, I was always a person that had somebody staying with them. And I knew how that could go, right? It could go either way, but I'm like, you know what? I really liked her. All of those things that I had asked God about, those characteristics that she had, it came back to my mind. And I said, you know what? It'll be cool. Whatever. It's cool. Yeah. Me want to make her happy. Okay, cool. Well, guys, I moved in with her. Everything was cool for a little bit. But when I got in that close quarters with her and I saw how she was, and I learned, now listen, it wasn't all bad. Okay. But I'm going to give you an example. You know how people love the aesthetics way that people have things set up when it be super neat? That was the first thing that I loved about her. And I was like, God, how she has everything in order. Guess what, guys? She was so obsessive about it. You can't even hardly enjoy yourself. But on another note, this is how I don't want to say obsessive, but God was showing me in this relationship, this is what it takes to keep things in order and looking sparkly the way she was doing it. Right. And I mean, every little thing, like I'm going to just give you some simple ones. When you go in the kitchen, if you cook, put everything up right away. Have your bowls, all of them in orders. Have your different sets. Have your lids in one place. Have your bowls in another place. Right? Investing in all different types of cleaning products for your kitchen, for whatever your appliances are. If you got stainless steel, you got stainless steel spray. You got your glass spray. You got the non-scratch adhesive, everything. Right? If you gonna load the dishes up in the dishwasher, go ahead. Make sure the sink is spotless before you leave out. Right? That is some of the things that I learned. Now, don't get me wrong. I had already had some of the kitchen pieces down, but the organizing, right? Because for her now, this was the weird part. She was very a perfectionist, but when it came to the kitchen, she would leave things in the sink. Okay, but it was still organized. She would have certain pots in a certain area. Everything was together. It wasn't like you would have a Cool Whip lid here and all these different things. God started to show me, right? As time went on, and I would see how she had all of these little different things, but then God started to show me she was very selfish and very image based, right? Very, very image based. What do I mean by image based? Everything was about the look, and she was very shallow in the heart. Because, see, I was saying she was perfect, and God started to show me all of her little flaws, all of it, just so that because I thought she was perfect, right? God answers in relationships. I said, God, I want to be like her. She's perfect, neat, super neat. And then guess what, guys? She had it going on. But guess what? Come to find out, she had men staying in her other properties that wasn't even paying her. So I moved in as the person to kind of help her catch up, right? Because she was image based. She made it look good. Okay. She had the perfectionist and the cleanliness and all of that. I'm talking about down to a T, right? Upstairs. She even had a housekeeper. Okay. So I learned all of those things about being very neat and having things aesthetically. I like the things that I learned with her. I still have it to this day. Now, I always have my down to earth movement with me because no matter how I live, it's material things and I won't be able to take it with me. So I always have a little kick of unorganized. So when people come to my home, it feels like a home, not like a mental institution, right? You ever go to some people's house and you don't even feel comfortable sitting down? You just want to stand by the door. It's like you want a manual. What do I need to do in here? Okay, you take off your shoes, and there's nothing wrong with taking off shoes, right? You take off your shoes, but after that, you don't know what to do. You scared to walk. You don't even want to look the wrong way, right? I don't want that feeling. Even if I'm in a 10,000 square feet home, I don't ever want that feeling, right? So God was showing me, answering me the things that I asked for in that relationship with her, okay? The next way that God reveals answers is in experiences. Experiences, right? So have you ever asked God for something? For an example, God, I need more discipline, right? And you ask God for certain things. This is why they say, be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. I believe, do I have a recording? Do we have an episode on that? We might. But it wasn't talking about how God reveals the answers. And this is very important. Listen, be careful what you ask for. Number one, God don't have to answer you. But number two, God is not some slot machine in Vegas. God is a sure shot, and he is nothing to be played with or trifled with. So don't be asking God for stuff that you have not really considered. Because I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you two instances that God answered me. One of them, I didn't count the cost. I'll never forget, I asked God, I was younger, and I was talking about, well, this is going to be more so towards relationships. But I was talking about how I wanted a man that would be obsessed with me and really like me a lot and give me a lot of attention and stuff. Listen, I met my first stalker. Okay, that's the first one. I want to tell you something. That was a relationship, but that was also an experience. All right, but I want you to understand, this is why I'm saying, and some of you might say, well, that's cruel. No, that's to teach you. Don't think about what you're asking for, right? Think about that. This also helps you be more crystal clear on what you really want in a partner or in life. This is why you got to be more detailed. A lot of times people just ask for stuff and don't even really know the cost. It's just like how women ask for a husband, right? This is why in the Bible it says to be a wife before you meet the husband. Because you got a lot of women, they so fine, they gonna get somebody to marry them. But now they married and they want to be single still. Now the man talking, that's why these men online talking trash about women. You know why? Because they picked with their dicks. That's why. They picked with their third leg. They didn't pick with their mind. Right? She was fine. It be so funny to me, guys. That's why I don't even get offended when you hear all of these different podcasts, these men, especially when they talk about black women. I don't even get offended. You know why? Because all of those men, what they did was they shitted on good women. They dissed and did wrong the good women, the good wholesome women. They didn't want them. They wanted the other girls that had on the tight clothes, booty big. Now and then they wonder why so many of these young girls out here running around trying to get body work. And I'm not talking about for your own personal self-esteem and your own self-image for what you think is beautiful. A lot of these young ladies out here is getting work done because that is what they perceive as beautiful from men. Let's be clear here. And then you get men online talking trash about it when the whole time they've been picking that. It's just like how some women going deep into getting their skin bleached. Why? Because a lot of men, especially black men, they love light-skinned women. And listen, this is just looking at the patterns. Looking at the patterns. Okay? This is not about no finger pointing. Okay? So what I'm saying to you is you have to make sure you know what you're asking for when you asking for it. Right? You can pray to God, God, please send me that woman. Send me that woman. And then you get a witch. She was fine. But now I'm talking about she don't know how to talk to you. She don't know how to cook. She always going to the club. You got a witch because you begged for that woman. God gave you that relationship and that experience. But guess what? Now you know the next time around, and this is for my misfits. The next time around, now you know what to ask for. See, now you know. Now you know what you need to work on too. Okay, so that was the first one. Now here's the other one, guys. I want you to understand this one is really serious. This one right here is really serious. There's a Bible scripture that says, I'm going to make your face like flint. I'm going to make your face like flint. I don't have that Bible reference. Now, the first reference that we did today, as far as the if any of you lack wisdom, that's James 1 and 5. James is my favorite book in the Bible. But I'm going to make your face like flint. And I'm going to make your face like flint. That particular scripture references, I'm going to make you hard to stand up to whoever get in your way. While you out here achieving your goals and your mission, whatever they throw at you, you going to go right through it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a dog. You don't even care. They going to throw all kind of stuff your way. As a misfit, you know we get it every time. And I asked God, I said, God, make my face like flint because I didn't want to be soft where, I didn't want to melt under pressure. You know what I'm saying? So many different things. And don't get me wrong, guys, you don't have to ask God for that. This is why I'm saying make sure you be careful because God will give it to you. He is very generous and graceful and gracious for that. He'll give it to you. It's up to you to recognize the answer and know what the heck you asking for. This is really serious business right here. As I'm thinking about this message, I'm like, it's really serious because God will give you what you asked for even when you didn't know what you was asking for, just so you will know better the next time around. I'm so serious about it. But I asked God about this one. I'm like, because I'm like, God, when I get up there, you know what I'm saying? People, they love to intimidate the misfit. I'm like, when I get up there, wherever it's at, I want to be able to stand up to it. Even when you get stuff, do you notice how people treat you different when you get a promotion? When you buy a new car? When you buy a new house? You see how people treat you. This is why you need the support systems of safe places like here, like Misfit Mastery, Discovering Your Destiny. The communities that we're building, you can have the type of friends and support and associates and community that you need. that will make you feel proud because you bought your first home at 65. That will make you proud that you just bought you a $50,000 car and you 22, right? That'll make you proud that you decided to relocate after thinking about it 10 years. That'll make you proud that you finally went on ahead and accepted the supervisor position. You get so many people that try to step on you. You need this support. But I need you to understand that when you asking God for these different things now, you got to count up the cost. Even as far as getting to leadership, having a business. Guys, I can tell you so many times that I asked God for things and he showed me how I wasn't even ready. I wasn't even ready. I had to continue to apologize to God because I asked for things that I wasn't ready for. Okay. Now we can go through so many of those different things, guys, but we'll be on this episode for a long time. I'll continue to get into it on some of my one-on-one and small coaching classes. I'll continue to tell more things. But for this one, I want you to understand when I ask God about making that face like Flint, because I know the lifestyle that I like and I want and I deserve. And I know it's going to have people talking. And here's the deal, guys. People going to talk no matter what. But people feel some type of way when you grow, especially when you the misfit. I don't know why. That's just the way it is. Something about being that misfit, boy, you could come from the bottom of the basement like me, but when you glow up and level up, people got a problem with it. And I said, God, I want to be able to stand up to it because I want everything that you got for me. When I think about everything that I've been through, I want everything that God has for me. And I'm going to stand right in it, right? And I said, make my face like Flint. Do you know God sent me? I had an experience with a narcissist. I sure did. I had an experience with a narcissist. God sent me that experience. And when I tell you, if you can survive a narcissist and some of the different things that they do, you will be able to stand up to anything. If you have survived a real deal narcissist, if you understand what that truly is, a lot of times over the surface, people just say, oh, a narcissist is a person that just thinks everything is about them and they're the main one. And that's true. But what you must understand is the lens, the different tactics they use, not just the gaslighting, but the many tactics that they'll use to make you feel smaller. These are things that can be in public, big, all kind of crushings, right? But when you have been crushed and then you still build back up, that's when that's when you're fortified and your foundation is strong. And that's how you can stand and have a face like Flint. See, God revealed it to me later on with the experience. That's why I'm telling you, this is the second way that God reveals things to you through experiences. This is also another example why, as I'm giving you this information, just know that be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. Just be careful, right? There's nothing, I think asking God is the first way of wisdom. It's the first sign that you have wisdom. But when you also fear God and knowing that, hey, God can do what he want to do, it also makes you think that, okay, well, let me not play with God. Let me not just be making up stupid stuff and just saying it like he a genie in a bottle, right? Last but not least, God reveals his wisdom and answers to you in a journey. Right? Because sometimes when you're in this journey, a journey is a route from A to Z. A journey is a time that you spend to get to the destination. And sometimes you can ask God for different things. And it's not until you get to the end of a certain journey or the end of a certain scene and you look back and you be like, you know what? Wow. So let me give an example. I'll never forget, guys, about the second year when I retired from my job to become a full-time entrepreneur. I had saved up $50,000 and my truck was paid for at the time. It broke down. I needed a gas pump, right? No sweat. Gas pump. I need the gas pump. Now, right before that, I had asked God, I said, God, I need patience. I asked God, I'll never forget that. I don't even like to repeat it. I don't even like to repeat it like God, I need, because God gave that to me. God gave that to me. Let me tell you right now about this one. I said, God, I need patience. And that truck broke down. I'll never forget this. The truck broke down. I wasn't tripping though. I had money. I can order the part. I'll never forget. I ordered the part from, it was almost like a Rock Auto, but I ordered it through eBay. eBay has always been a good place to find auto parts. If you didn't know that, yes, eBay is a great place to find pieces for your car. I got on eBay and it was a spot out of Miami, Florida. I'll never forget it. Now, the fuel pump at the time in the AutoZone, y'all, was like $300. I'm like, what? H no. And then I had found I had a mechanic. I'm like 300, but guys, online on eBay, a brand new fuel pump, y'all, was like $80. $80. I couldn't believe it. $80. Then it's in Miami. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. So you know that's nothing but like a 2-day shipment process, right? I went ahead, got the part, got the part and everything. We got the first part, and no. I'm trying to see. Did we get that first part? Nah, we did never get the first part. My week went by. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So you know what? Matter of fact, it wasn't even a whole week. It was like, I'm trying to remember, guys, because that was a minute. That was over 10 years ago. What happened was we got the first part, and I believe something was wrong, or it was the wrong part, because the mechanic had already taken the fuel pump down. He had to take the fuel pump down, and so when we got that first pump, it was something up with it. I don't know if it wasn't broke. It was either the wrong part. It was something that happened. I sent the part back. And I ordered another one right away. I said, well, hell, I got money. That's only $80. I hurry up and ordered that part. Guys, do you know that part did not arrive until 2 weeks later? And they was guaranteed. This was a company that guaranteed that you would receive your part within 2 to 3 days. I wish I could remember that place name. But I didn't receive that piece until 2 weeks later. 2 weeks. 2 whole weeks. I was without the car. I was like tripping. I was tripping a little bit, but after a while, you know what it was like? You might as well calm down. Just calm down. Calm down. Why? Because you can't control nothing. Just because you got the money don't mean nothing. Sometimes your money ain't the thing that you need. And that's when I realized, after I look back on that, y'all, I was so calm when stuff would happen. When things would go not planned, I go sit down, go to sleep, go take a nap. Prior to that, guys, I was a firecracker. What? What's going on? I didn't pay. So immature. So immature. That's why now, guys, we go in these stores, you see these people tripping and flipping out. Guys, I don't even be saying nothing. I'm good with it. Why? Because patience. I got my patience in that particular journey. I'll never forget that. I will never forget that, guys. And again, this is why it's very important for you to understand. Know what you're asking for, right? Because God reveals his wisdom to you in relationships, with experiences, and through journeys, right? And again, it will all work out for you. But what you must understand is, think about the whole mission, the whole reason why you're here. Think about the life that you're living and the thing that you lack thereof. Focus on asking God about those things so that you can be a better person. Not just asking God for things like, like he a slot machine. Don't get me wrong. He is our Father and we can ask him for everything. I'm asking him for all kind of stuff. But I am very careful about what I asked him. A long time ago, I was just flipping off, asking God all kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong. You see me asking God for patience? It paid off. It paid off. COVID-19 came, people came and went to the stores and flooded it out. Guys, I didn't do none of that because I knew I was going to be okay. My patience, that journey, it paid off. But at the end of the day, it also taught me, be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. Well, all right, guys, as we close another chapter and episode of the show, remember, it's your journey that makes you extraordinary and unique. So you don't ever need to feel the need to compete. All right? Until next time, I'm signing off. Continue to discover your destiny. It's Athena Renee. Take care.